Hello, beautiful bosses. Christina Luke, the Overwhelmed to Freedom coach, and today we're being joined by the wonderful Liz Johnson. She is a composer, a project manager, and an ideas powerhouse. She brings so much together. So I'm going to pass over to Liz just to introduce yourself and who you are and what you do.
Thanks so much, Christina, for having me on, and hi everyone. And so who am I? Well, I'm a composer. What is that? I work with a lot of people, and I love to create with people. So whether they're professional musicians or people who've never played before in their lives, and I kind of move around different kinds of groups, working in different kinds of ways to just create stuff. And my passion is for music and sound, and I find it's kind of quite a way to express things that are hard to sometimes verbalize.
Yeah.
And I find music is a really powerful tool, and I've worked a lot in hospitals, care homes and things where music sometimes gives you a different kind of channel to work with people and to find out who they really are and use it as a real, like a portal into the real person. And I'm really interested in that. And it also brings me a lot of joy. So I love composing myself. I think it should be something that everybody does.
Yeah.
It's kind of normal for me, and I feel sad that it's not normal for everybody because it's just fun. It's a really fun thing to do.
I do understand, because when I was doing my studies, we did art therapy, but also music therapy. We touched on that, and it was absolutely brilliant, especially with the subconscious. You don't realise what's going on down there, and just to let it out and then recognise what's going on for you, and a little bit of a release as well in those stressful times.
Yeah, I've seen amazing examples of other people's work where they've taken somebody from a completely crazy kind of out of control state and literally kind of matched their state with music. So just kind of playing crazy and vocalizing and just kind of letting it be crazy, and then gradually smoothing it, and then going crazy again, and then smoothing it. And then by the end of 3 minutes, we're talking 3 minutes, that this woman who was literally hysterical was just going and just breathing and just kind of, it's okay. And somebody medical saw this, and apparently their comment was that there is no drug that can do that. It's just remarkable to be able to do that. And this is kind of normal for us as musicians. We kind of know it, but not many other people do, sadly. But this is one of my passions, to kind of get music more kind of actively used as a healing thing, as a connecting thing, as a thing that can express passion. And it's not passive. So a lot of music that we experience today in our culture, everybody sits and they just kind of press play, and they sit there and they might sing along and join in. But my kind of music making is much more proactive, and you're actually creating musically, and that's where it goes on to a completely different level. So it's great to listen to music. Music can be a real mood shifter. It's a great thing to do if you're feeling low or need to shift. Just put the music on, yes. But if you actually do some active music making, that's a whole different thing. And it's a shame that the education system isn't better serving our kids for making music. Some are doing a great job, but not all. So yeah,
I really
there's a lot of
agree with
potential.
that, because at the moment, even with my ladies, we do kind of meditation, that soft music, but I tell them to put on some real rock music or jungle music, and
Yeah.
it's my energy. Sometimes before a session I might just have a little dance and really get into it. But I do remember when I was at school going through such a difficult time and understanding my identity, that Wednesday music class, even though, don't get me wrong, I wasn't very good at it at all, but bashing those drums or, pretending to play the guitar, it was absolutely freeing. And it gave me a space where I didn't have to think about the negatives and pressures so much, but I just had that space. But the drums for me, so I know the act of actually doing it was absolutely amazing.
So maybe you should go and join a drumming class.
I think I am.
do
I'm thinking
some
about
more.
kickboxing, but I might do some drumming. I think.
Yeah, do some drumming. I mean, there's some amazing drumming. And there's samba or African drumming is amazing.
Yeah.
Both are so energizing. And I did a taiko drumming. Like, I don't know if you come across it, Japanese taiko drumming. I did a workshop the other day with an amazing taiko drummer where I was like, it's so physical. You're literally jumping up and down and whacking the drums. It was like the best physical workout I'd had in years, and it was so much fun. And you're doing it with a group of people. It's just, yeah, go and drum, everyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a look into it because I do kazumba anyway, which is African dancing.
Yes.
So I'll have a look at that.
Cool.
Excellent. So what else is going on for you?
Well, I'm just about to set up a new online venture called Inside Out Musician. And this is a kind of response to COVID. And I was invited by a friend of mine who I didn't actually know, but she's now a friend. But anyway, she was a friend of a friend. She's now a friend. And she just saw that musicians, professional musicians, and everyone is in a real fix at the moment because of the current restrictions on performing and venues. And so she decided to set up a kind of online community for musicians and classes and performance opportunities to just hang out together, discussion groups, everything. And she's brought together this little team of 5 women. Mm-hmm. We're all in our 50s. We've all got our kind of our track record behind us, but we've all been working on our own up until this point. And then Sophie has just drawn us together in this beautiful way and said, hey, this is a cool idea. And so we are just about to set up a new fundraising campaign through GoFundMe and Arts Council England. And we've got fantastic website design. We've got a great logo. It's all very dynamic, very exciting. And yeah, it's been really good for us actually to have a very clear focus for something to do, because it's been a really tricky time. This last year has been difficult.
So
but
what will that provide to? Because you said it's in the wake of COVID. So what are you actually providing with that?
We're providing a whole range of different kinds of courses. So I'm going to be leading improvisation courses where you just kind of turn up. It's all via Zoom. So you just turn up and I kind of lead you through some playful stuff, a bit like kind of being in the playground and messing around and having some fun through voices, through movement, through instruments, whatever you've got to hand. And that kind of works from amateurs through to professionals. And we've had, it's actually, the professionals are really scared of doing that kind of stuff. Some of the ones I know anyway. And they found it really liberating. And they said, it's changed the way I play. I just like kind of just go for it a bit more. And we've been trialing sessions over the last couple of months with a range of people. One of the people I've been working with was a musician, but she's now a full-time carer for her mum who's got dementia. And she said it's changed the way I work with my mum. I'm much more playful with her now, and I'm much kind of lighter in how my attitude to stuff. It's much more kind of light-hearted, and we just have a bit more of a laugh. And so I thought that was fantastic.
I'm sure it's psychologically that you're removing a little bit of fear and situations that we would find ourselves quite fearful or embarrassed or a bit ashamed of doing and putting ourselves out there. But when we can start to do it in those arenas, in other areas of our lives, it's not so bad.
And really empowering for people as well. So because you have to be a little bit brave in those kinds of sessions, but it's a safe space. So I kind of set it up, say, nobody's going to say anything negative, or if they do, they're out. This is a positive space. We're only going to give positive feedback, and it's for you to just take where you want, however fast or slow you need to go, whatever risks you want to take, just go for it.
That's really empowering.
So that's one of the things. one of the things we're doing. We're also leading some kind of quite detailed, like advanced instrumental techniques. So there's a Baroque specialist who does like amazing kind of twiddly stuff on the violin, which is really kind of exquisite and kind of quite advanced playing. But also we've got a folk fiddler, a Scottish folk fiddler, who has a fiddle circle where everyone just kind of learns a tune together and just like kind of, you know, having a good old kind of foot tamping. So it's a really wide range of stuff and really fun. And we're going to be setting up from December. I think it's the 18th, it's Thursday in December. We've got our very first event, which is we're calling the Inside Out Ceilidh. So we love that kind of sharing and openness and the fun vibe of a ceilidh. I don't know if you've ever been to one, but they're just like kind of, yeah, everyone just has a great time. And there's different people take turns to do stuff. So they might tell a story, or they might play a tune, or they might, you know, somebody might dance, or, you know, it's an open, a bit more kind of varied than like a concert, which sounds a little bit, can be a bit boring in its format. And then there's also
shows what they have, or has a little go, and
yeah,
it sounds really lovely as well that you can start to see different cultures, because you said like Scottish, Irish, you know, put them in, so you get
and
to
this is something we're actively seeking out and kind of reeling in some more different kinds of musicians from different backgrounds. So we're all like white middle class women with a kind of classical training. So okay, that's who we are, but we're really all really fascinated in the wider picture. So as I say, I can't say names yet, but we have some really cool people we're trying to get on board as well.
When you talked about the instruments, some of the instruments I've never even heard of before, so that's really interesting as well. So on the Thursday, the 18th of December, is that already fully booked, or people can get onto it? Or
it's not. Yeah, it's just about to go live. Hang on, let me just double check. It is the 17th. The 17th, Thursday, the 17th of December at 7 o'clock. There's going to be an Eventbrite link. So if you find me on Facebook, it'll be all over the place probably next week. And it's this kind of shape, isn't it? Life. I mean, it doesn't do this, and it doesn't do that. It's this kind of wave. I've discovered, because I'm old enough now to be able to see.
Grey area. Let's get out. Grey area.
Yeah. and then kind of sometimes it goes backwards. It's not even a wave going in one direction. It's kind of goes back and forth. And I've had a really interesting time. Part of the conference was, what would your 7-year-old self do if they were kind of, you know, thinking about what you're thinking about now? And I just actually started thinking about what my 7-year-old self would do if they, on a whatever it was, the Thursday afternoon. And it really opened my eyes up to who I was as you know, what it was like for me to be as a child, and how different things are now for me. So then I was actually very isolated as a child. I didn't have people to play with. I didn't have parents that were very involved with me. I just kind of did my own thing. But I'd never noticed that until that moment of reflection yesterday. And I thought, oh, okay. So my 7-year-old self was like really on her own. And she was quite inventive. She was able to do stuff. She was really happy on her own, doing stuff. You know, I would do this, I would do that. I'd go and find a pebble and paint on it, and then wait for it to dry, and then varnish it, and then maybe write a story, or make a den, or, you know, just kind of do some play acting. And then I thought, oh, hang on, what if that 7-year-old had loads of friends nearby that she could have played with? What would have it looked like then? And so that's the kind of pattern that I've just become aware of, that I used to feel very isolated, and now I've got a lot more connection, and I've got a lot more people I can call on. You know, I'm in touch with people every day that are friends. You know, I just call people every day, which didn't used to be the case.
It might be too personal, you don't have to answer, but Do you think there was a changing point? Because sometimes if there wasn't a changing point, then that 7-year-old girl would still be controlling what you're doing now and still doing things quite isolated or on your own. Was there a turning point for you?
Absolutely, a really big, crunchy one. So in 2014, so that's about 6 years ago now, I actually became really, really poorly, and I physically couldn't move. My legs actually went into, I couldn't actually walk. And I went to a physiotherapist. Nobody could work out what it was. It's a big mystery. And they were telling me it was psychosomatic and I couldn't work it out. I was very, very busy. I was doing masses of work, running loads of projects all over Birmingham. And the first physiotherapist I went to see, she said, well, what I suggest you do is just stop walking for 3 months and then we'll see. So that was a bit of an interesting,
You had
because
all
if you've
these
ever tried
projects
stopping
going on.
walking, then it does actually limit you a little bit.
With so much that you had going on at the time, what was you thinking?
Exactly. Well, fortunately, I did go and get some psychotherapy. I was recommended somebody who really, really helped me through this very, very difficult transition, because I actually became really poorly. It turned out I had severe arthritis in one of my hips, but because I was so resistant to being ill as well, I didn't want to be ill. I didn't ask any of the right questions. And somebody said to me, well, why didn't you just get an x-ray? I thought, well, I didn't want to be ill. So
You
of
didn't want the
course I
answer.
didn't want an x-ray. And I was just taking what people were saying to me, and I was being quite confusing as a patient, I think, because I was saying all sorts of weird stuff. Anyway, psychotherapy helped me to release from that impossible situation that I got myself into, where I was just too busy and I was being stretched, pulled in every different direction. It was literally pulled me apart until I was just a kind of blob. I couldn't move, and it really affected me mentally as well. So it started off as a physical thing and turned into a real mental breakdown too. And it was through that process of healing. So now I'm fine. I'm digging around. I probably do need so I've had a hip replacement, which is like the best thing I've done. And my other hip's a bit sore now, so I think I've had the X-ray, waiting for the results.
So you're actually listening to your body now, because they do say that, pain is an indicator or a message to us, and then when we're not listening, that pain just gets worse until that's it. You have to listen to me now. And it's kind of releasing all those negative emotions or whatever's going on for you. But by listening to that pain, you can actually relieve it as well. So do you recognize now when what was going on for you then? Was it stress, tiredness, overwhelm? What was it?
all of that, all of that, and just a whole load of, because I don't know if you've looked at the musculature of the leg, because I looked at a diagram. I want to see what the muscles look like on a thigh, and there's like loads of them. They all weave together, and it's really complex.
Up to
It's
your
fascinating.
shoulder, just from your leg and your hip, yeah.
And what I discovered over time, so this did take a bit of time, but gradually, as I got more and more different kinds of help, so I had a period of psychotherapy which really helped. Then I discovered a shiatsu massage therapy, which is a Japanese, very, very lovely, gentle and amazing kind of therapeutic stuff, where you actually are fully clothed, and they actually work through a sheet as well. So it's like, it feels so safe. You don't have to take anything off. It's like if you're in a really kind of vulnerable place. So shiatsu is a fantastic therapy, and I'm still having shiatsu now. But I discovered that every muscle that was blocked, because my shiatsu therapist said she was like concrete. There was no give, and I don't know if you feel your thigh now. It should kind of give a little bit. It should kind of be a little bit kind of wobbly, and mine were like rock. There was no give, and so it's very, very painful and quite hard work to hold all that tension in your legs as well. and that was going up into my body too. And I used to wake up. In fact, I had a memory this morning. I woke up and I was thinking, oh, I just need to move a bit. I used to wake up in like with a full body spasm every morning. I wake up and go, oh, and then I think, okay, I have to let go. I have to let go. And so gradually through also physiotherapy, swimming, yoga, lots of online work with therapists like Marissa Peer, Tara Brach, Christy Marie Sheldon, and the three that have really helped me. Lots and lots of work, just kind of unpicking and just being kind of trying to be very kind to myself, trying to listen, learning to listen. And I was so not listening. So if anybody's out there saw anything, just listen. Give it some love, please. Get somebody to help you with it, because there's no need for pain. There's, the pain, as you said, Christina, the pain is your body telling you something's not quite right, and so you need to attend to it. And there was a great phrase that came up yesterday again, which was the time that you don't give to wellness, you will have to pay in illness.
I was just thinking all that time you spent, trying to reverse all that, when maybe if you'd listened at the time, it could have been different. However, at the same time, you've learned all these new tools and techniques to allow you to cope with the future now and your present, and you're getting quite busy again, but you seem to be able to manage it in a different way now.
Yeah, so even through this interview, I'm just, because I tend to get quite tense when I'm obviously on the computer and interacting with other people. And so I'm just kind of talking to my shiatsu therapist the other day about it. She said, well, just check in with your body while you're doing it. Just take a moment to just check in. So I've just got my hands on my belly and I just noticed that my back is like doing something a bit weird, so a bit tense. So I'm just letting that go and just do a breath. And, nobody would know except that I just told you. But so I'm just kind of letting it all go a little bit more. So I have that everyone has different places in their body where they hold their tension. So for me, it's my legs and my pelvis and my lower back. For people, it might be your shoulders, or it might be, I don't know.
That self-awareness is key to life, and a healthy life as well. That's amazing. Awesome. So you overcame all of that?
Pretty much. I mean, I would say I wouldn't change a thing. Also, I would not change a thing, because as you say, I've learned so much from it. But what I'm really interested in helping to happen is that other people don't have to go through all that as well. That there must be a better way to work with that 7-year-old so that she can be better equipped to deal with life's stuff. Because, we all have a whole load of stuff thrown at us, don't we?
Or emotional baggage. I call them the 3 Bs: the emotional baggage, the blocks, and the blame. A lot of blaming of ourselves.
And when you said that word blame, it kind of made me go, yeah, or I was so blaming myself for so much stuff, which wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. Or even if it was my fault, then that was then, and now I can forgive myself and move on.
Forgiveness is amazing. And we can only do, I say to the ladies, the beautiful bosses, we can only do as good as the resources that we have. So at that time, you done as best you could with those resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you have new resources, 100%. You're doing better, So
yeah, 100%.
Beat ourselves up. It's like going to school. We couldn't do our GCSEs when we started school in nursery. We had to learn. So.
Mm-hmm. And I always think that I remember feeling so inadequate as a young person, really, really low self-esteem and very, very judgmental of myself. And because I felt I didn't know anything, but that was because I was young. That was the only real reason. It was just because I was young, and also I wasn't particularly well guided by other people, so I didn't have very good guides to teach me stuff. I was really left, as I said, to my own devices, so I didn't really have a lot of guidance. And when you're in that situation, it's really hard to know stuff because nobody's teaching you. So we need to look after our young people and nurture them and give them the tools, and so they don't feel so rubbish about themselves. And I think it's very natural to feel really challenged as a young person. It's just natural, because
comparison.
you know you've got lots to learn, and it's frustrating because I always just wanted to be a grown up. I just always wanted to be a grown up. So glad I'm a grown up now. I actually say it to my husband, say, isn't it great being a grown up? I just like, I can do whatever I like. I've got all these, I know how to make all this cool stuff. It's so nice. And I just love getting older because it's just a gift, you know. You can, it's not the solution to everything because I still trip up, but you know, at least I know how to pick myself up better.
Because we can't predict the future, and you know, I will never claim to any of my clients that life's a bed of roses, because it's not. But it's how we deal with life is the magic.
But you can plant some roses in the garden and go and, you know,
my favourite flowers, roses. So.
I've got only fragrant roses. I love the fragrance of them as well as the look of them. So I've got my garden's full of roses, and different ones have different meanings for me. It's like part of my story. So yeah, and you can plant the roses, and you've got that. Nobody's going to.
It's okay to have the down days. It's okay when life does hit you to take those moments. And I think the biggest thing as women, that we have to have this be strong driver. We have to be strong all the time. And that's another reason why we crash and burn, because we try to be strong and then it's just piling up, and it's the straw that breaks the camel's back, instead of dealing with it here or just saying, okay, today I'm on my monthlies and I'm going to take a day off, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
That was one of the biggest lessons I learned from my psychotherapist, where she said, it's okay to show the cracks. And I thought, ooh, nobody ever said that to me before. It's okay to show the cracks? Really? And since that moment, I've done that. So, and it's actually changed the way I have my relationships with other people, because I'm showing the cracks. So if I feel something, like, you know, when you said about blame, I said, oh God, that really made me, you know, it's like me showing one of the little cracks there in my own kind of armor. But showing the crack, if you show that vulnerability, I found that it helps other people to open up to, and sometimes it can lead to a deeper relationship. The other key person that's really helped me with that kind of stuff is an American writer and speaker called Brené Brown. She's got some amazing stuff on vulnerability that I really love, and she's very American. She's a kind of real Texan girl, and so but she lives it. She shows it, and she's been there, and she's had like major vulnerability about her own work, talking about vulnerability, which is really kind of funny, but also just so revealing of, as women, what we do to ourselves. And she did a TEDx talk, and she actually woke up in the middle of the night and woke up, her husband said, do you think we can we sneak into the Houston TEDx office and steal the tape, because I don't want it to go out. I just don't want it to go out. And then it went completely viral, and then, you know,
for women,
because she thought people are going to say I'm fat, people are going to say they're going to judge me. And she did get all of that. She got a whole load of stuff thrown at her. And that's another thing that I feel really sad about in our current days, is that women are very critical of each other, very judgmental of each other and ourselves. So it starts off
I really
by being inside, and then also being critical about other people and judging them. You know, you can't.
The thing is, it's really difficult. That's why I wanted to start this group as well. But we can only see the world from our point of view, like, and I can only see you, me in you. So I remember there was times when I used to be at work, and there was this girl, and I'm sad to say, but she used to be like really bubbly and laughing all the time, and she used to irritate me. Literally, she used to irritate me so much because she was happy, but that's because I was unhappy and I wanted to be like that. So that's the reason why it brought up something within me. But until I was able to be self-aware and understand it was totally about me and not her, then I could kind of start working on that area of my life. But it's very difficult because people are only seeing their fat self or perceived fat self in Brene Brown when they're looking, so they feel they need to have to point that out. But when you start to be better in yourself and healthier in yourself and your own self-esteem and confidence, you don't look at those things anymore, and actually you want to uplift other women. But it's everyone's journey, so it's about us remembering that a lot of the time it's not about us, so you can kind of let it flick off you, but it's easier said than done. You know.
Indeed, absolutely. Well, it's been quite hardwired into us from day one. So that takes a bit of undoing, and it's very easy to slip back. And I have this kind of one of my internal voices that's the real bigot. I hate that voice, but it's just still there, and I just have to go, shut up, not useful, not helpful, just go back into your nasty little place under the bed or whatever and stay there.
See you later. Yeah.
So it's just, it's tricky.
Awesome. So I was just going to ask you your biggest challenge so far that you feel that you've faced. I know you just told us about that one. Is that the biggest, or you got another one?
Yeah, I suppose part of that was decision making. I made a decision to not go back to the old life, because I was working as a lecturer, as a project leader, and as kind of teacher. I have a teaching background, so I was a primary teacher for 10 years, and I'd always been working with other people. And then so the biggest decision I've made in my life is to choose not to go back, because I could have gone back into that world of lecturing and stuff, but it wasn't really serving me anymore, and it used to make me a bit stressful. I did a whole load of stuff as a lecturer and teacher, which I'm really, really proud of, but it just felt like that I've been there and done that, and it was time for me to move on and to take a risk and to really commit to myself as a creative being on this planet and to see where that would take me. I have to say I'm in a very fortunate situation because I've got a husband who's got income. So it gave me freedom to say, do you know what? I've always earned my own money. I've always been proud to, be kind of self-sufficient. I'm not, in the pocket of my husband's earnings and stuff. But I said, well, why not? Why not let go of that and just see where it will take me, and just swallow my pride, actually. Yeah. So I haven't got so much ready cash these days because I'm still building that up. But I've got the vision board. I'm doing a lot of visualizing myself as very successful, very earning loads of money, and having a lot of.
You said that you're all about helping other people and so on and so on. Are you okay with asking for money or taking the money?
So this has been a big challenge for me, a massive challenge. I've been lucky enough to work with a mentor called Tess Howell, who, when we started working together, she said, I think you've got some really big blocks about money, Liz. I think you need to just go and do a bit of thinking and find out. And that's been going on for a year of me really going into the money side of my personality. And I was just thinking about today's session and how things have changed for me. So now I'm thinking of myself on a daily basis in a different way. So I always used to say to myself, I've always been very small. I've never needed much money, and I you know, I've never been very good at asking for money. But that was the old me. So now, please, philanthropists, give me your money. I can do amazing things with it. I need sponsors. I need backers, because at the moment I'm making it work and it's all fine, but the potential is not being realized, and I need other people to support my work, and then so much stuff could happen.
Amazing that you just
I
asked that, because I feel that's another big issue for women, especially when we're helping other women. We're thinking, oh, we've got to do it for this or do it for the cheap. But to be able to progress and help more women, we have to, you know.
Well, I had several conversations with other women who are creatives, musicians, composers, and I had about 3 conversations in a row where each of them started crying, talking to me about their financial situation. This was a year ago. This is before any pandemic, and now it's a lot worse. And I thought, this is crazy. Why are we all so poor when we're all so brilliant? We are brilliant. We're multi-talented. We're very, very capable. We do amazing things, and we're doing it for nothing. Now, that's not right. And there's a lot of bad stories out there that it's cool to be an artist, to be poor, and oh good gosh, look at this person, they died a pauper, and isn't that so romantic? It's not romantic, it's rubbish.
Having
It's
to be a
really rubbish.
waitress at the same time as being great, yeah.
Yeah. So and I've been battling with in the Inside Out Musician, where we are going to be doing this fundraiser, which is coming up. It's probably out now, in fact. GoFundMe, Inside Out Musician. A big argument about charging for tickets for this amazing Inside Out Kaylee that we're running. I said, well, of course we charge tickets. Of course people pay to come. Why wouldn't they pay? Well, we don't want to pressurize people. Yes, we do. And we can have a kind of free tickets for people who can't afford it. We're setting up a bursary so that people can, if they can't afford it, we can subsidize significantly. But there are people out there with money. It seems weird for musicians to know that, because none of my friends have. But that's wrong, and there's a lot of kind of bitterness about that as well, which isn't helpful.
And the people that
We
ask
need
for
to
the
be
money,
proactive.
the people that ask for the money, they get the money. They
Yeah.
do.
So I'm asking for the money. I have this vision of my perfect kind of, like a partner, where they can say to me, hey Liz, what about this? And I go, oh, yes, I can do that. I know how to do that. In fact, I had a Birmingham Royal Ballet called me 2 years ago and said, hey Liz, we want to set up a collaboration with like music students and choreographers at the Birmingham Royal Ballet. Can you make that happen? I went, yeah, I can make that happen. I did make it happen. Just give me an idea. I realise I have ideas and I realise them. So,
Be a
but
powerhouse, they
well,
call you.
like literally, I don't pay tax. That's how little I earn at the moment. It's crazy.
It's crazy, because
It's
I know how
crazy.
amazing you are, and the projects that you've done, the people that you've brought together. It's incredible. I would never, if I
So,
looked at you, I'd never have thought that. Asking for help. So you've kind of, when you had your situation with your legs and all that, you went to different places to get that support and help. And did you find that challenging to do that?
very challenging. Yeah, absolutely excruciating. It was so painful. And in fact, just all the both speaking what I needed, I still find it hard. And it actually felt like I had a kind of concrete blocks on my throat that I couldn't actually say the words. I could think them. After a bit, I could stop to think them, but I couldn't speak them. And it was like there was so much stopping me. And it's so strange. I just don't understand how the body and the mind are so kind of woven into each other that, you know, obviously I wasn't ready to speak it then, but gradually with more physical undoing. So the physical is so important.
I completely, mind, body, and spirit. You can't have one without the other. I don't. I
Well,
believe.
you know, if you had one without the other, what would that look like?
Oh, you'll have the pain rising up,
Would you like? Could you?
the
Could you have
emotional.
a mind without a body? Is that possible? Could you have a body without a mind? Is that, you know, that it's
When
just
people
nonsense.
talk about work-life balance and things like that, you don't
Mm.
have work-life balance because you can't. Everything can't be equal. It's about having alignment. So understanding which are the most important parts to you and having alignment, because you can't spin 10 plates at once. You can spin one first and one second, but it's about being in alignment. Dilt says it, and having that alignment, understanding what that harmony looks into your life, because it's going to be different to someone else's.
Yeah, there was a useful phrase came out of this conference, which was not work-life balance, but work-life integration. I thought that was nice. Integration feels much more. It's like balancing. They had a picture of people trying to balance on one leg, and they're like, there are different ways of balancing. Like they had somebody going, "Ooh," then had somebody kind of in a kind of tree yoga pose with their leg right up wherever, and then another person balancing, kind of leaning on a tree. So everybody was balancing. Then another person leaning kind of onto, you know, back onto something to support them. So you don't have to be wobbling on one leg to balance. You can just sit back and let the world kind of help you a little bit. So but asking for help is still a big issue for me, and part of our team for Inside Out Musician, one of the great things about the other team members is they say things like, okay, Liz, now you're going to need to tell us now what it is you need most. And I'm going, oh, no. And I'm kind of going all kind of, and I get emotional, I probably cry, and then I might say, oh, I don't know what I need most. And they said, well, just take a bit more time, think about what it is you need most right now. And then eventually I kind of blurt something out. But yeah, it's so difficult to ask for help. And it's, you know, it's like, oh yeah, just ask for help. Huh. I love the word just. It's
I've
tough.
never owned my voice. I've never asked to have my needs met, but now just tell me and just, yeah. And it's recognizing that sometimes we're not going to get the answers that we want to hear as well. So one thing, owning your voice and asking for the help, but also if we get rejected, that can be so scary as well. Or, you know, it doesn't fit with the other person or
And
what you
also,
do.
yeah, if all that kind of asking is loaded into one place, that's the nice thing that I've managed to kind of over like 4 or 5 years to actually build up a kind of network instead of like everything loaded onto one person, like, oh, you're my only friend and you're the only person I can talk to, you're the only person I can ask for help. That puts a lot of pressure on that other person, and sometimes they're going to have to say, no, I can't help you because it's too much. So to
And that just reinforces that
find,
I can't ask for help.
really tough and easier said than done, but you know,
What you were saying then as well about, you know, it's about getting your needs met in various places and not just the one person or the
and
one.
also paying for help.
Even with
Paying,
you, you're doing different kind of massages and things like that. So you're not even just staying into that one place. For me, I
yeah,
do, you know, supervision and timeline therapy, the gym, dancing, you know, so many different people. And I have different groups of friends for different people as well. Because I
yeah,
recognize, you know, I need that.
yeah. And I think paying for help, paying for your self-care, paying for really skilled advice, expert advice. So not relying on your friends and family, or your one friend or your one family member, but to actually, you know, pay. So the money I have earned, I spent all on self-care. You know, I paid for the gym membership to the nice gym where there's a really cool pool and, you know, you can go. I pay for the shiatsu, which is, you know, it's 55 quid an hour, which is, some people would think that's a lot, but goodness me, it's worth every penny. It really is. And I go every week. You know, I pay for yoga retreats, and you know, I get the benefit of. So the one thing I've learned about money is that I was thinking about money in the wrong kind of way. And if you think about money, if you swap the word money for energy, that's a really useful way of thinking of it. So you can, it's like an energy transfer. So the money that I have, I give to you, and then you give me the energy back for that money. And yeah, I've done a few. Oh, Mind Valley is quite a good place for finding free talks about money. There's a wonderful one about saying thank you to the money. Every time you spend money, every time you receive money, you thank the money. And I've been doing that, and straight away more money has been coming to me.
Once I got over my money blocks, and you know, I have to hold on to it or I spend it on stupid things, and understanding where all my messages from money comes from, as you said before, 7 teenage years, watching other people around me, family, especially mothers and people struggling.
Yeah.
Once I said, you know what, I want this or I need this, because it's a two-way exchange, as you said, of energy, and I'm worth it as well, then money started to come.
Yes.
And I do this thing on my receipts that this was a successful spend and this money will be replaced. And I put those on all my receipts. Yeah.
And how much more money will this money earn me? You know, so that's another
I don't
cool
even
tip.
think about money anymore. I think this is what I need and what I want or what I desire, and I do that, and it'll come back. You know, money is energy. It comes, it flows. You know, it
Yeah,
flows.
yeah, and that money is like air. You know, it's just there, and you don't really need to think about it too much. So you're a bit ahead of me on that one, Christina, but well done you. And yeah, and there's plenty of money out there. Like, I keep looking outside and thinking there's so much of everything. There's so many leaves on the trees, and there's so many blades of grass. I couldn't even count them. There's so many, you know, so much of everything everywhere. There's plenty to go around. It's just really not a problem.
Awesome. So you've achieved so much in your life. I'm just wondering, what can you tell the beautiful bosses? What's your number one key to success or key to wealth and happiness?
Listening to yourself and taking that time to really listen. So quiet time when you can just really check in. And if there's something that doesn't feel quite right, um, Tara Tara Brach has a wonderful tool for investigating that, where she calls it RAIN, RAIN. So R is for realizing that there's something wrong. So that's the first part. So just actually realizing and recognizing it, and actually kind of seeing it for the first time. So you might even not even notice that you've got a stiff shoulder. Somebody might say to you, "Oh, have you got a stiff shoulder?" And you think, "Oh, I don't know, have I?" So actually kind of learning to feel your body. And that was the first thing for me, learning to actually feel what my body was feeling. I was so cut off from it. I was literally like, my brain was, there was a gap between my brain and my body. I couldn't feel anything physically a
Some
lot.
people are really cognitive and they're just desensitized, detached from actual feeling.
And I think that's encouraged a lot. So finding ways to feel your body, wiggle your toes, feel, kind of just think about your fingers, and can you feel some kind of energy there? So just starting to feel, and then if there's a something that doesn't feel right, to then recognize it, and then the rest of the thing. So R for recognize, A for acknowledge, so or accept that it's there. So you're not fighting it, going, "Oh, why have I got that? Oh, get off!" But actually to accept it, say, "Oh gosh, right, okay, that's there. Ooh, okay." I is for investigate with kindness. So just spend a bit of time thinking and maybe sending some love to that part of your body. And then N for nurturing, and just whatever needs to happen, just kind of finding some way to nurture that. And then I found that a really, really helpful process to go through. And because I've had so many physical problems, I've had to go through that time and time and time and time again. And each time, different things unravel. It feels like a massive unraveling, that I was this kind of tight knot of, like the most twisted up kind of ball of wool, or where it's completely unravelable, and then gradually just teasing out one little bit at a time, and then I actually really
Hard,
enjoy
isn't it?
unraveling things. It's something I really love to do. I find it very therapeutic. Some people hate it because it's frustrating, but I just like to take the time and see, oh, there's a twist there. Oh, okay, if I, and then undo something.
Like
Um,
a massage, and you can feel that knot just releasing and
yeah,
release.
absolutely. And so that would be my top tip, to just really um, understand that your body has you as its main purpose in life. The other really important one, which I've been getting the hang of more and more, is from Marissa Peer, which is, what you say inside your head is what will be the truth. So if you say, I hate my life, you will hate your life. Your life will be horrible and you will hate it. If you say, I love my life, you will love your life. I mean, that's a pretty kind of general thing, but to flip the negative. So if you have a tendency, which I know I did and still do sometimes, have a tendency to say, I hate that, or I hate this, flip it and say, I love this. And I do it with like housework. I love housework. I'm so good at it. I'm so quick. It's so easy for me to clean, and I look at how beautiful it is. I used to go around going, I hate hoovering. It used to freak the dog out. I mean, got the hoover out, the dog would kind of go, ah, but now the dog's okay when I get the hoover out, because I used to be so full of kind of anger when I had to get the hoover out. It's like, oh, I hate heat. Why do I have to do this? Why can I not afford a cleaner? Why why is the house messy anyway? And it just, these stories that we say to ourselves in our minds are really, really powerful. And so if you can flip those negatives and just turn them into positives.
It's kind of
um,
like it's like a script, isn't it? So we're writing the script and then our life plays out the movie. So
yeah, and it
we need
seems
to
to be
write that
working for
script.
me. I'm so much happier. It might be annoying, but I am so much happier. Um, and you are too. I mean, I think, you've had really difficult things to overcome, and you found that it's all about,
It's where you
it has.
focus. You focus.
Yeah,
So when I used to focus on the negative or the past, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. I'm just thinking
yeah,
about even conversations. I'll be playing those conversations over and over. Even when I'm talking about it now, it just makes me feel so tired and drained. But when I started thinking about, okay, I'm focusing on that, I'm focused on my career, I'm focused on helping people, I'm focusing on the next holiday, those
mm,
things propel me forward and I get up out of bed. Whereas before it's just like, oh, I've got to get up and see another day now. And it's just, just for the sake of it kind of thing. But now I feel the energy, I feel the love in the world, where I used to feel
mm,
the anger, the sadness, the
yeah,
disappointment and all those kind of things. But only I can create a life that I want to live, you know.
yeah,
No one else can do it for you. So you have to focus on what you want.
mm,
And I think that's the bottom line. And
yeah,
also what you were saying about rain as well. Every morning, I say it to my clients and myself, I check in with myself. So a lot of people have a morning routine. I've got to do meditation, I've got to do mirror work, I've got to drink my water, I've got to do stretches, I've got to work out, I've got to do this, should. And some days, once you do that and you break that cycle, then it's kind of like you're setting yourself up for a bad day, because without doing
mm,
this routine, then my day is not going to be good. So then we're focusing on negative. So you can do all those things, but not so rigid. So for
mm,
me, I check in with myself in the morning, realize all those things that you said, and investigate. Or my shoulder's a bit tight this morning, or I've woke up in a funk. What's that all about? And just really check in with myself for 10 minutes in the day, and then I can move on. So if I feel that I want to meditate, I can do that. If I feel like I want to work out, I feel that I want to have breakfast earlier. So I don't put all those pressures on myself, but it's really important to check in with yourself and see where you're at and tweak the day in accordance, you know.
Yeah.
Or I might just, you know, I'm going to have the morning off because that's how I'm feeling, you know. So
Yeah.
I really understand what you.
Which, when we are working for ourselves, we have the freedom to do that. So we don't need to kind of create a rigid timetable. And I can't really work to a timetable anyway. It just doesn't suit me. I've no idea how I managed to be a primary teacher for so long, because I just can't work to timetables. But it means you've got the freedom, and as you say, you know, if you don't do it now, you can do it later, or you can do it tomorrow. That's fine. And you know, maybe you just needed other things to happen. But I think the checking in is really important, and very nourishing and reassuring, and that, you know, that also just think about what it is you love and do that. That's another good thing to do.
Yeah, most definitely.
So you talked about drumming. You really had a bit. I'm going to be chasing you now to say, have you started the drum lessons yet? Because
I am
you've
going
had a
to.
big
Yeah,
moment there.
yeah, I think that will definitely, yeah, definitely. I might get one in my office.
Yeah, a djembe or something cool.
So, what does success mean to you?
Well, success.
Or
I
wealth?
think
I like to use wealth now because it means.
wealth. Okay, wealth. Wealth. Well, now that I've got all these wonderful women supporting me, having seen this interview, um, I've been thinking about just being able to support other creatives. So I really want to buy handmade clothes and, you know, support craftspeople. And there's this amazing jeweler. She's made these such beautiful earrings that are like fuchsia flowers made out of silver. They're so beautiful. And I just, every year I go to her workshop and I say, one day, I'm going to come by. I'm going to buy those earrings, but I'm not quite ready yet. But so wealth is, well, also just being. I mean, I feel so wealthy. I would, my life wouldn't change much when I'm a multi-millionaire, Christina. When we both are, my life would not change that much. I was thinking I'll probably get a manicure. I would probably have some nicer shoes and some clothes that are special. Um, but, you know, I've got such a wonderful life. I feel very wealthy and very blessed. So I don't
Excellent.
really want to change too much.
Saying about gratitude, taking action, self-care, being alive, staying connected. Some of the words that you were saying before, yeah.
Yeah, staying connected. And yeah, sometimes that's still difficult for me with people who are a bit resistant, and it's hard to know how to stay connected with somebody when they don't seem to want to respond. So but
Finally, then let's talk a little bit about that because I know a lot of women want to be accepted and connected to various people, and sometimes, as you say, wherever they are in their life, might not be ready for that, or also they may not be worthy to be in your life sometimes, and we try to hold on to these relationships that, you know, aren't healthy or not good for us, or we can't see actually this person isn't for us. So how does that work for you?
yeah, that's a difficult one. I think I've always been a people pleaser and want everyone else to be happy, or and in the past that was really to the detriment of myself. So I'd be over anxious to please them and to give them everything wanted and make sure, and ask them, like, have you got everything? Hey, can I not get you something else? You know, do you need another cushion? Do you want another cup of tea? And they're like going, oh, get off. You know, you're just like, too much love, too much kind of interference. So I suppose what I'm learning now more is that I need space myself. So I'm actually giving a bit more space to myself, but also that sometimes other people need their own space too. So I've got one person in my life at the moment where I'm just sending like a weekly message going, hope everything's okay. Get in touch when you're ready.
Mhm.
I'm just waiting, and it's been a few months now, so that's kind of it does. And also, I checked with their mum that they were okay. So, and they are. So, but it's just not the right time for them at the moment, and but that's a hard thing to understand, isn't it? Because you want to be loving and caring. So yeah, it's a hard one for me, but I'm gradually learning that I need my own space too, and that it's okay to actually not pick up sometimes,
Mhm.
and to just say, oh, do you know what? I was just needed a bit of space, or you can make up a little white lie if you need to, but you know.
Well, it's being open and frank. Some of my friends know that, I have friends that speak to each other on a daily basis. Me and my friends aren't like that. Some of us are, some of us aren't. And that's okay. That's my personality. And they understand that and are okay with that. And that's fine. And I don't get jealous when I'm talking to other people all the time either. It's just different dynamics and different relationships. And again, it's about acceptance.
Yes, yeah, and that's a really grown-up lesson, isn't it? Acceptance is a big thing.
So I'm so happy that we got to do this interview because you're absolutely amazing.
Me,
And what you've been
thank
through
you.
is so inspiring, and what you're doing for other people, as well as taking care of yourself in a healthier way. And it benefits everyone else and it benefits yourself, and it's so cohesive and absolutely beautiful. And we got some amazing lessons and messages from you today. So thank you so much for joining us at the Beautiful Bosses and the Emotional Hug from a Distance. Before you go, just let us know where we can find you, the tickets and the initiatives that's going on for you and that we can be part of as well.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Liz Still Not Johnson, or Liz Johnson, depending on which bit of you're looking at. I've got a website, lizstillnotjohnson.co.uk, where there's a lot of my music and theatre, dance, all sorts of cool stuff there. If you look up Inside Out Musician, that will be coming up on Facebook very probably now. And there'll be more stuff about that too. So thanks so much, Christina. It's been a pleasure doing this with you, and it's always a pleasure to work with you.
And if you want to come into the group and give us a little, something that we can use for stress relief, that would be great as well.
Okay, will do.
Thank
Cool.
you. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye then.